everything? Pretty good. Yo, what's going on? All right, let me get situated here. Kind of squeeze in. All right, got to update. Sorry, haven't done a live in a little bit, but also it's a little bit weird when you have to do a live and there's no like pause to it that I'm aware of. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and get cracking here. Hopefully everyone had a great week. It's been busy for me. I appreciate you guys tuning in. So we're gonna go ahead. I know this is the Redcat Machete 6S of 1/6 scale that I've had in a box for a little over a week now. And I didn't know about the issue from the very beginning. So we're going to get into that. But let me go ahead and make sure my live's going, see who's talking. Definitely recognize the people that are joining in and kind of get things started here. I figure I'd go ahead. Let's see here. Whoa, got it. Something different. Yo, what's up, Pete? Mr. Peter, what's going on, man? Appreciate you joining in. Let's see. Dismiss. I'm going to make sure my... do a mic check real quick just to make sure that the mic is working good. We're not, no static. Everything sounds okay. Missing a couple RC cars over here that are sitting over there. Just kind of all good. All right, cool. So I see a little bit of sluggish going on, but that's all right. That's probably just network in general. So let's go ahead. Let's see. What's up, Michael? Yo. Appreciate you guys joining in. So, if you guys know Gap Reviews from A to Z, he did the unboxing of this. He purchased one of these cars from us. What's up? Who Rock 305? What's going on, bro? Appreciate all you guys joining in. So I already knew there's already issue. We already know that Redcat has said, hey, we're not selling more of these right now. We know there's a manufacturing issue. Within just a couple of days, they already knew what was kind of going on. So I don't have any insight anymore than like said, oh yeah, we already, I'm not going to put words in my mouth that are not from them. And also as far as I can respect the fact, first I'll kind of acknowledge Redcat. They saw an issue right away and are addressing it. So kudos to them on that part of it. I'll get into a little bit. Let's see the big boy. Yeah, let's go, right? Yeah, we see the recall. Yeah, so I know anybody that was interested in this or looking for it, everybody knows that, hey, that's what Redcat has an issue and here's what's going on. So let me go ahead. Definitely smash the thumbs up while you're here. Just kind of helps a little bit, every little bit counts. So I'll smash it myself. So let's go ahead. We got some people watching right now, so I definitely appreciate all you guys tuning in. So let's go ahead and unbox this. As you can tell, already I have not opened this thing up, so it's all still sealed. Nothing, kind of like the magic, right? I didn't change anything. Nothing's been done, so all good. So let's go ahead and without further ado, let's just open it up, see what we get. If they've got any issues with it, hopefully, sometimes I get lucky, sometimes I don't. When it comes to, I already know that like Gap Reviews had an issue with the shock already coming off of it. And we already know the other issues that they have, so that are being addressed. So I'm just going to wait for the part. I figure, I'll support Redcat. We'll wait, make sure that they do good on their part. So I'll let you guys be the first to kind of take a peek in there and see what's happening. The box wasn't damaged, as you can see already. So everything let's get a little bit more in there so you can see everything. So I'm kind of looking from here just to see how it looks too. So I apologize. Not a stand. We already just put it down on the ground. All right. Need my helping hands. All right. So you can see the way it's packaged. We already know about the radio. So we'll get to that one. The radio. Yeah. They're all right. So yeah, everything looks good. I'm gonna go ahead and put it just straight up so that way I can, because well, again, it's a pretty large vehicle. So everything looks good here as far, yeah. Good. I'm gonna take it out the box. So nothing in the box. We're good on that part of it. It's a nice, man, the box is super thick, man. So definitely good. Got any shock issues? No. Shocks look good. Good. First impressions, this thing looks pretty sweet. That's why I wanted it. I love the Redcat from before. Well, buddy, mine bought. Oh, let's see here. A buddy of mine bought one, and the thread rod. Okay, Okay, for the arms. Okay, let's see. 1/8 scale. They popped apart, going across the yard. Okay, so I already know there's some issues. We already know there's issues with it, right? So it's gonna be one of those. I go ahead and definitely on camera it doesn't do its justice. That's normal. But let's get even just the. Man, I can't. They did good on the packing of the box. You know, as far as how it's held in there. You know, some people are like, oh, that's how it's held in there? Well, that's crappy. Like, it's in there good. This is nice and thick to protect it all. So, I don't see any issues with that part of it. HPI does the same thing. There's other manufacturers that do the same thing. That's how they hold it down. Saves them on cost anyway. And it holds it in there, so why not? So, I wish I had my old shredder. Don't have it. And we'll go ahead and take the body off because I know someone else had like issue with the ESC where it was just kind of dangling there or was pretty loose. So we'll need to address some things. But I figure let's go ahead. We'll get this radio out the box. I already know what it is. Never had a problem with them anyway. So we'll go ahead. Now I did see something about some kind of card or something like that. There's the radio. Easy 4AA batteries. Lots of I like this radio. I have no complaints with it. I know you buy other receivers and, you know, another remote or... this one works good. I've never had a problem with it, so... pretty easy. Okay. So this device, oh, that's just the licensing, it seems like. I don't know if that's anything else to do with it. If those are specific. I see some... see what you guys are saying here. Yo, CSL, what's going on, man? What's up, bro? How's it been going? Nice car. Yeah, I appreciate that one, Jess. So, yeah. So, if you guys are just tuning in, and maybe you're not all up on the Redcat issue or whatnot, that you know these things are on, basically on a recall as of right now because of the fact as far as like the turnbuckles, as far as the upper arms, and I guess as far as even just the front axles, they bent easier. I know there was issues with the shock pulling out. So it'll be one of those things we'll have to kind of look at. I don't see anything as far as... it does bottom out pretty quick. So, I mean, I didn't drop it very far. You can hear it banging on here. Sorry about that for the mic people. I don't know what else, but... so what Redcat is doing, I haven't gotten any more information than what you guys already see. Just kind of looking through it real quick. Is that... they're like, hey, if you want to keep the car, so if anybody purchased one through us, it could go to Redcat. There's actually now a website or a link. I don't have the link right now, but you can go to their website. It's even on their Instagram. And they'll tell you, hey, go here because this is where the latest and greatest news is being unfolded and what's in regard. So if you did order one of these, you can go to Redcat's website and you can get like a $50 credit towards another Redcat, you know, item of whatever, and they'll also send you the parts free of charge once they're available. That's pretty much all I know at this point in time. So they were like, hey, if you want to ship it back or if you want to keep it. I want to keep it. I think it looks awesome. It looks awesome. And so let's go ahead and we'll get underneath this thing. What's up, John Miller? So yeah, let's go ahead. I like the little, you know, it's kind of, okay, that's a little bit weird. So these tethers that are on, I'm going to go ahead and bring this a little bit closer so you can kind of get a better view of it. So give me a second here just so you can see it better. I know it doesn't look too bad, but it would be good. I'm going to go ahead and do like kind of we'll do like, yeah, I'll do it like this. That way you can kind of see it. Bring it a little bit closer, but the overhead, yeah. So what I've seen before, people don't like overhead from watching, was that Kevin? So I'm going to go ahead and take these out. I will say like the tethers for these, they're pretty stiff already. Like, not. I feel like they're not gonna last too long. I know the rubber ones don't last too long either, but these definitely seem a little bit chintzy on that part of it. I do like the skid plates. It's got the little front nose skid plate also here, little skids on the sides. That's cool. The wing, like the mount's pretty solid. I like my, I'm going to refer to that quite a bit because that's all I know as far as for this scale. The shredder, wow, this thing looks really cool. Yeah, it is loose as far as, so, damn, this thing looks really good. All right. So, I'll move it a little bit so you kind of see facial expressions maybe because, yeah, but oh, wow. It look, man, it looks really nice. So let me go ahead and adjust this a little bit. You guys let me know as far as when it comes to the car. I'm going to go ahead and raise this up, kind of see a little bit more what's going on. Hey, what's going on, Mr. Let's see, I think it's Payne. I think it's, God, I can't remember. Oh, looks like Payne. Sorry, man. Hopefully I didn't knock that over. So I appreciate you guys joining in, man. Let's see. Okay, so you can we can see it here. Yo, kind of looks like a little, oh, XRT. Yeah, man. I love my Redcat RC. They're good vehicles. Good company. Keep the good. Oh, yeah, definitely good. As far as, I like them as far as, that thing's a monster. Yeah, this thing looks really sick. Man. Come on, Redcat. So, as of right now, I don't see anything leaking. Nothing's come apart right out the box. Let's go ahead and show you. Wow. This is why I ordered it. Just cut that black and red. Tires are pretty soft. They're kind of, I guess they feel like a medium, but I mean, I was going to run this thing pretty much on road until I got a little bit more comfortable with it when it comes to, I'd probably run on 4S, like off-roading it. As far as the bumper goes, God, there's no give to it at all right there. Even though it looks like it could actually kind of absorb it if the plastic here was softer, because that's so hard. It's gonna, I feel like that's gonna be, something's gonna, poor little bumper's gonna get destroyed. I like some of the plastics to be kind of a little bit on the soft side, just so they'll flex a little bit. I mean, we're not racing this thing, anything like that. So if the plastics are a little bit soft, I'm okay with it. But in this case here, it's pretty rigid. I'll show you the back side of it. It looks awesome as far as when it comes to the Redcat logo and the 6S up at the top there. Like, wow. Just from a visual standpoint, you know, if I were to say, if it didn't have any Redcat stuff on it or whatever, I might glimpse over it and be like, oh, is that an Arma? Just for the heck of it, not being completely educated on all the Arma stuff or whatever. You know, I'd be like, wow, that thing looks really, it looks good. But I like the black and red. Looks really cool. You know, it goes with the Machete. It's kind of that sinister, that black and red kind of, as far as Freddy Krueger kind of thing. That's how I kind of look at it a little bit too. And I think because I saw some kind of meme or something with Freddy Krueger sitting on the freaking train or something, so black and red just popped in my head on that. But I like the fan that's on it. The cooling fan, cool. You know, literally, hopefully. The mounting bracket, as far as for the motor, it looks like it. I mean, it's in. Let's be real for a second here. This is the first time. I mean, you can't get your fingers in there. Some of the other ones, if you not really, you wouldn't probably do it, but the gears are kind of exposed. In this case here, there is no gear exposure at all that I can see. Putting my hand all around where the pinion gear and spur gear would be. Nothing that, as far as dirt, debris would kind of get in there from what I can see to, kind of wear down on those parts a little bit faster. So that looks good, as far as when it comes to maybe, let me go ahead and move this mic. Maybe it maybe sound a little bit too far away. Yo, it's an R5. Don't say that, 10 scale, man. It better not be an R5 issue again, man. Don't say that. I think Freddy would approve, yeah. Yeah, where's my... Oh, he's hanging out. Yeah, Freddy Krueger would definitely approve, right? Let's see. Redcat has been and will always be Redcat quality. Well, I'm going to give him benefit of the doubt, too. Let's see. King Wally, what's up? In my experience, not much are. But I do like Arma, but I also like the big Redcat fanboy too. Cool, man. You guys, appreciate you guys joining in. I'm gonna go ahead and kind of, we got XT90 plugs, very cool. It's got 150 amp. As far as the kV in it, it seemed to be like, it was like, what is that? I think it was a 2100 kV brushless motor. So this thing can, this one is set up to for 6S. I didn't kind of go over all of it. It was really, my main focus on doing this was going to be, is there anything broken or shock popped off or anything out of the ordinary if I were doing an unboxing that would stand out and say, oh, well, that's an issue already. So no, everything looks good on it. So I'm gonna go ahead and put the camera back down a little bit so you can see my mug a little bit. All right, let's get that. Back it up a little bit. Hopefully that's okay. I'll see it on here. That should be all right. So yeah, it's got the wheelie bar on the back side of it. On the back. Yeah, I mean, as far as everything else, I mean, my standards, I'll be honest with you, man, as far as RC stuff, I'm not a basher really, so I'm I'm casual at best at jumping, but I'm not one to send it. Now on my shredder, I got used to that one, very comfortable with it when I took it to a skate park and sent it on its way. The body cracked, but again, I never broke anything. The shredder is definitely one that is my favorite RC car. Yeah, it's my favorite. And why did you get rid of it then? Because after a while, you kind of, I don't know, I get bored with this stuff. But that should have been one I should have kept. In the very beginning, we had rough, rocky road with the shredder. And this is not a shredder. This is a replacement of the shredder. But as of right now, as we know, this thing has issues. But the first shredder that came out, the version 1, it had some kind of issue that I don't remember what it was. And it came out the version 2, and that one seemed to be pretty good. People had their opinions either way, like on anything else, which is perfectly fine to have your own opinion. So, hey, it's what makes us human, and so there's a bunch of stuff out there for different options. But yeah, in this case here, yeah, my shredder, man, that was great. Now I sold it to my friend, and he's like, oh yeah, one of the wheels came off. I'm like, I never had a problem with that sucker, and all of a sudden, give it to someone else, and that's it. So, let's see. The wheels are dope. Yeah, definitely. So I do definitely like the wheels on it too. Yeah, 17 millimeter as far as the hex is on there. So plenty of different options for that. I did see like Gap reviews. He put some, I think, Arma wheels on it in the first place. It looked pretty sick. It's got the little 6S little sticker. So yeah, that's why I kept going about back and forth. It's like, oh man, you know, I really like the shredder. I like the big RC cars. And that's why I pulled the trigger, not knowing as far as what was going to be the outcome, like anybody else at the time. And then it was like just a few days later, I was like, I got it on last Saturday. So I haven't even had this thing a full week. I thought I did, but no. I got it on Saturday of last Saturday, and then I shipped them out to the customers. So I definitely appreciate those customers that did order one of these. And, you know, thank you for sticking around as far as, you know, that there's issues. And pulling through, just like Gap did, where he's like, you know what, man, we'll go ahead, you know, I'll keep it, and hopefully we don't have that R5 issue. And I said, I hope not. I hope this one pulls through and it's a keeper. I mean, looks like there was a lot of time involved as far as building this thing from the ground up. I don't think this is of any other vehicle. This seems to be, you know, Redcat's baby. And it's just the first version. Of course, it did have an issue. I'm not covering up for them or nothing like that. I'm just saying for a standpoint that, you know, R&D, and also when it comes to just, you know, it's not an easy task for sure. And everybody had, you know, there's other companies out there that have issues and they don't address them. So definitely, so there's failures that people are like, oh, there's an upgrade for it. So you know how it goes. So in this case here, yeah, this double, I would have thought they would have screwed this down. I know it's a hobby wing of some age, but I might as well just pull it off, because that way I'll know, like, hey, you need to put some double stick tape on it. And the double stick tape, well, I've had these issues before where they use the double stick tape and they're like, well, it was sitting in the cargo for a long time and it didn't hold up. But, you know, here's what I would say to the engineer. If you knew what speed controller you got, you do have holes that you could put screws in to hold this thing down, and then you would never even worry about, oh, the double stick tape coming off. You know, if you did engineer it, then should have just engineered it for this speed controller that, and gone from there. But I don't know all the dynamics of it. Like, oh, we're sourcing this speed controller. Okay, now it works for it, and we didn't do it at the time. So I don't know. No excuses for on Redcat's part of it, but yeah, it would have been cool if they would have just had that so that it was screwed down. But that's what I think Team Corrali at first, they were doing, just where they were gluing it down, not gluing it, but double stick taping it. And then they finally they're like, hey, well, it's got screw holes. And I think that's what they did. They started, I know at least on my Shogun, that one's just screwed down. So I'll show you like a 1/8 scale. Let me go ahead and check what's going on here. Sorry. Anyway, got to run. Okay, Mr. Jill. All right, man. King Wally. Sorry, man, if you parted out and I wasn't there, but definitely appreciate all you guys kind of joining in, sticking around, smashing the thumbs up. I know I'm kind of off camera, so I appreciate all you guys. As far as I'm not going anywhere yet, but definitely appreciate if anybody was leaving, then hey, thank you for dropping by, saying what's up, and you know, throwing your 2 cents in. Definitely appreciate it. So let me go ahead. I'm gonna move this camera a little bit more because I feel like I'm definitely gonna be out of the camera. So I'm gonna move this closer, get myself back in the shot a little bit. So there we go. Maybe a little bit more. Yeah. You got old 10th scale sticker on there. So that's cool. Let's see how this is working. All right. Oh man, I remember. Okay, yeah, those definitely remind me as far as Jess. Let's see, Kevin. Let's see. Let me go back here. Can't wait to see you bash it. Yeah, King Wally. Let's see. Let's see, Michael. Let's see. It's like it's idler gear, and yeah, it's forget what they called it. The idler gear. It's like you got a spur gear. You got the pinion gear. You have a spur gear, but then you have, I forget what they called it. Not like a torque. So they had like another name for it. I forget what it is. It's not common, but I don't know. I don't know what it's all about, but yeah, definitely. It sits so low for a basher. Let's see. Must be a lawnmower. Yeah, it definitely sits low. Like you can't even get your hand like flat there. So, and it doesn't have, like when I saw the shocks, I was like, man, those things look like there's nothing to it. So even just dropping it like here, okay, a little bit higher, not too bad. But there, I think it bottomed out. So, you know, it's one of those things. Now, even on my shredder, it bottomed out. I mean, the chassis on the back of it, it was all scratched up, the aluminum. But, I mean, I do like the rod. I mean, it looks visually, it looks cool. My personal opinion, I think it looks good. If you guys are tuning in, probably because you're like, hey, that looks like a pretty cool truck. Or, you know, you just want to see what I was going to say about it or what have you. But yeah, XT90 plugs. I was pretty impressed that they went with XT90 instead of like, oh, XT60s, or they put Dean connections on it. Because normally these speed controllers, I took off the double stick tape if you're just tuning in because it was a little bit loose. And I don't know why, I kind of skipped over it. But yeah, sitting in the cargo containers, sometimes the heat will loosen them up or whatever. I've seen it on other cars that's happened and it's fallen off. I will say, unfortunately, I normally seen it with Redcat cars that they've peeled off. But I have noticed it with other cars too. Less expensive cars that the double stick tape, it falls off. For me personally, I'm not going to gripe about it because, well, if you're in this hobby, you got plenty of double stick tape. So you're switching stuff or whatever, it's not a big deal. It's going to cost you a few cents for some double stick tape, and it's all good. Easy peasy fix, not a big deal. But obviously the main issues as far as that can happen, those definitely have to be addressed. So I'll probably still run it. I'm going to run it. I won't jump it because part availability, well, don't think there's much of anything. Redcat was listing parts on the website as this car came out, or this truck, and then I haven't looked at it for a little bit since. So we'll see. I'll have to address like the shocks as far as the rod ends or whatever you want to call it. That, you know, as far as the shock ends, make sure those are on there good. I don't know how much threading was on it. That was one thing I saw from Gap reviews from A to Z. It didn't look like when I saw that one of them had pulled off or whatever happened, that was there much of the threading on there in the first place. So have to kind of see that. Let's see here. Let's see. So yeah, as far as Jess, when it comes to, I have the Redcat camo. And remember the camo TT, that one there where it had lock differentials for it, and those were breaking. And then they were like, hey, I did a video on it years ago, and I was saying, hey, if you got one of these, I think Redcat was already addressing it, that you need to get unlocked differentials for it, because the ones that they were using, they were snapping that were locked. Still have some of those differentials as far as I had taken out for customers' cars and replacing them for them before I shipped it out, just as a courtesy. As far as Redcat brand, it's definitely good. I like it. Yeah, the Kronos 22 XRT has a ESC mount. Oh yeah, the Max has bolts right up, exactly. And it has a flexible mount, not touching. Oh yeah, not touching the chassis, exactly. It kind of like floats there a little bit as far as how they have it to the. Yeah, which, like my Shogun, which is, we'll show you this. So this is a 1/8 scale. I've been babying this one. Like, it's got a little scratch, but it hasn't flipped. I don't remember it flipping. So it's pristine on that part. Now I got an HPI motor in here and then a Hobby Wing system, but yeah, you won't be able to see it, but take my word as far as how the ESC, it's just screwed in there, and it definitely is kind of floating on one part of it, but very nice. You guys can kind of see that one. So I put XT90 plugs on it. Whoa. Sorry, this thing moves around. But yeah, that's that. So you can see like, 1/8 scale. Kind of get the idea a little bit there. Probably with the body on there, you get a better idea. But you can see where wheelbase as far as here. So 1/8 scale. It's not like I'm really showing you like, oh, they call this one, 1/6 scale or something. And 1/6 scale, the scales doesn't really mean much, because it's all based on, this is like a fictional vehicle, so there's nothing to compare it to. So they can call it whatever scale they say, like, oh, this is a, I don't know, they could call it a 1-to-1 or something, because it doesn't exist as far as this vehicle goes. So yeah. But I like it. This is actually just a little bit longer. I think just about an inch longer than the Shredder was. I think this Shredder was like 27 and something, and this one's like, 26 some change, and then this one's like 27 and some change, if I'm not mistaken on that one. So I was like, oh, okay, this one's just a little bit, I think because the wing or this bumper, how it sticks out. I remember the Shredder had a little bit of bumper on it too. But again, like I was saying, like the plastics, like the bumper seems to be okay, but they usually have like a loop or something there, so that way it absorbs it. This is just stiff as, like, Redcat. Look, we need to probably address that thing too. Like, that needs to be, a bumper is there to absorb, and this thing's just nothing. Like, so I'm just kind of like, yow, like that needs to be able to absorb. Sorry for the mic. But yeah, you get the idea. So that's a little bit weird why they didn't go with softer plastics on that. Well, what do we have here? RCX Garage, what's up, man? Do a review on the Redcat Shredder, bro. Oh yeah, I did that one before, Edwards. I had the Shredder. I did quite a few different videos, from going from 4S to 6S, disaster. Put it back on 4S, but I never looked back. That was a great RC car. I don't believe they're gonna make them anymore as far as the Shredder, since this was kind of like the replacement of it. Because when I saw it out of stock, and I was like, oh, they got another one coming, and I saw this as far as a dealer, I saw that. I was like, hey, oh, you got the Machete. It didn't show me any pictures or give me any information, but it said compatible at the time with the Shredder. And I was like, oh, so maybe they fixed some stuff on it, made it 6S. And I was like, okay, that's cool. And then This comes out, and I was like, well, that's just completely different as far so it's got some, I guess, the layout a little bit, because before it used to have, you know, as far as the electronic speed controller was sitting back here, I believe the receiver was back here too. Yeah, I think they were both housed in like in this compartment over here. It did have an upper brace, but it was nothing like this. And of course, you guys know, if you looked at the shredder, yeah, it definitely looked outdated as far as this. It definitely looks more modern, you know, of the times where the shredder was definitely of a different era. But are you? So I'm not selling. Let's see here, Mr. K Pax. No, I'm not selling them as of yet. So once I saw that, you know, Redcat was like, "Yo, no, we don't have any more right now. We're stopping." So hopefully soon. I'm sure. So what they'll do is, if they got any of the recall of those cars back now, maybe a few of these guys are going to have to go through and fix them, or it could be one of those where they put the spare parts or ship the spare parts with it. I don't know how they're gonna address it exactly. Like they had like, you know, well over 1,000 of now of the 6S and 4S. So was this? I don't know if this was. I imagine this is on both, because the platform is pretty much identical, other than like as far as the power system and the chassis being a little bit thicker and making the 775. Or at least out of a different material as far as on the 6S one. So same issues for both. So we'll have to kind of see. I didn't understand this part of it. When I saw it, I was like, what is this thing all about? It's like, is it just like plastic? You know, as far as, is it just tape over it or something to give it that shine? I was like, why did they put a metal on a plastic arm? I'd have just went ahead and just made it all plastic. One, it's cheaper for the customer too. And it'd probably be more durable, because if these have, obviously they have screws going into, or, you know, threads going into these other little plastic pieces, that's become a weak point, and I would like just to see it as one just plastic piece, because it's going to be more expensive to keep replacing these chunks of aluminum when you break like an upper arm or whatever. So if Redcat, at least please, I would say, who cares about a little bit of the red? It looks cool, but I'm okay with, as far as, well, yeah, I would not. I just like to see plastic upper arms, as far as even in the rear, and just call it a day on that part of it. It looks cool, but at the end of the day, people want it to be durable, and I would say definitely just get rid of that part of it. And but any of you guys, if you guys have one of these, you know what your experience has been, anything like that. But we already know what some of the experiences have been, and that's why they, of course, they stopped selling these things. Let's see here. So they repair other person's cars and sell it back to you? No. I don't know what they're going to do. So that's a great question. Like, so when Redcat gets, let's say you used a car, I think at the point in time, I don't know how so there is like that fine line. Like, if you used it, what do? You're like, hey, it broke. Oh, you can send it back. Okay, I'm going to send it back. It is used. What are they going to do with it exactly? Are they going to just recycle it? Whatever that may be. And then, or are they going to be like, hey, so I don't know that part. The only thing I knew was for a dealer was like, if it's still in the box or whatever, you can send it back. We'll give you, we'll pay to ship it back. I was like, all right. But I was like, I want to keep it. So they were like, hey, if you keep it, we'll give you a $50 credit towards, a Redcat item on the website. And I was like, okay. So I'll keep it, wait for these upgraded parts, and they'll ship those parts to you free of charge, plus that $50 credit. So if you bought it on Redcat's website, one of these, and you have the issue, which everybody's going to have the issue. It's just car wide as far as that one. There's obviously manufacturing problem. So you can get a $50 credit. You have to go to their website, and they, like I said, on Instagram, and I'm sure on their website, hey, if you got a Machete 4S, 6S, here's what's happening with it all. If I do find the link for it or whatever, I'll probably tag it in this video or put it in the description below, so by chance someone comes across this thing and was like, oh man, what do I need to do? Because, some people maybe don't. I think if you bought one of these and you had an issue, or you're still looking to see other people reviewing it, that you're going to know, oh yeah, there's an issue. So, but I don't know what they're going to do with those cars. And then if you already have the car, you can just kind of hang tight and wait for them to update it with whatever parts they're going to do. I know they had the issue with the, what was that? EXT, the Kaiju EXT, where it was like the upper arms were snapping. My friend has one of them, and I was like, hey, I got version 2 arms, because he bought them, and for whatever reason, Redcat's like, hey, here's the part number that you need, and they were selling him version 1 arms that were notorious for just snapping very easily. And I was like, dude, that's the wrong part number. I don't know why they gave you that part number. I don't know if that was before this issue. He's like, no, that's what they told me to buy. And I was like, that's the wrong part. I have the parts, and they're the version 2. Here's what you need. Put him on there. He's been jumping it since and hasn't broke. So I was like, that's pretty crap. So at this point in time, so I don't know who it was. Someone was misinformed, gave him the wrong part number, whatever it is. I don't have an excuse for it other than I gave him sold him the right parts. Got the right parts for him. So yep. ESC and RX mount on center brace. Yeah, exactly. As far as with the old shredder. That's the. I'm running Hoons. Oh, boots, wheels, and 800 kV motor on a Max 4S. Very heavy system. It looks shock stop. Let's see. Some people said it's impossible to make a shredder 12S, but I did. What? Man. Okay. So, I mean, when I did my shredder video, I was like, oh, 6S. And people were like, oh, man, I've put 8S in it. And I was like, you got any videos? Like, well, no, but I've run it on that. I was like, all right, well, I mean. So, I mean, over time, they fine-tuned it. But, man, I couldn't imagine, like, all that on the metal and everything on 12S. Like, it's just so much. Does it go faster? I mean, imagine it would have loads of torque, bottom end torque and whatever. But it seems like, man, loading that vehicle down with just battery pack, I don't know. 6S seems to be good. I have fun with 4S. The only thing I want to say is, someone was saying like this thing only does like 40-something miles an hour on 6S. I was like, what? This thing should be doing like 50-something. It is heavy. And it said something about like 14 pounds or so, which probably does come in about 14 pounds. I don't know. So it's definitely no lightweight for sure. I imagine with the extra little aluminum, little bits and pieces that are in it, I guess it all adds up pretty quick as far as the weight goes. So we shall see. Yeah, that's weird. But I don't know. What do you guys think about it? If you were to have gotten one of these, what would you have done? Say, hey, I haven't pulled out of the box. Would you have returned it? Or would you just said, hey, I'm going to keep it and, let's see what Redcat does. If you've been a Redcat fan for a little bit, or, you're like, hey, I took the plunge. I'll hold off. And at least they addressed the issue right away. And so I'll give them the benefit of the doubt to fix the issue. But if they can't fix it, then, part ways kind of thing. Like, no more with Redcat. Next time they come out with another new vehicle, we're going to hold off. I was kind of almost going to do something like that. I was like, oh, man, it's a brand new vehicle they came out with. Like, should I pull the trigger on this one or not? I was a fan of the shredder. And then going for the, the 6S system, what was going to happen with it. But I was like, I really kind of want one of these things because I definitely like my shredder. So, let's see, bulletproof diffs. But I did know that, as far as Edward, sorry, that someone was putting, not in this vehicle, but in the shredder, I think they were putting, my friend was putting like Arma ring gears in it and things. I was like, okay, well, if that works, then that's cool. So I know there's other things that people have been trying over the years to improve on it. I know the first thing I did with the shredder was the spur gear was plastic, and replaced that one because, well, it just chewed it up. It shredded it, just as the name says. So, but yeah, other than that, man, it was cool. I liked it. Let's see, did I miss anything? Let's see, so, yeah, but we'll have to kind of wait and see with the old Redcat what they're going to do. So, let's see, anybody seeing if there was something else? So, what do you, overall, if you were to, me personally, just looking at the car or the truck, like, yeah, that thing looks cool. So let me go ahead and put the body back on so you guys can take a look at it too. Things I would address. Okay. As this goes on a little bit tougher on that part of it. The tethers, they're kind of like I said, like a harder plastic. They're plastic. Let's just go with that in general. It's plastic. So somehow something's binding up right here. I think, oh, there it is. So it was just the body was binding up on the bumper a little bit. It kind of got caught on it, but all good on there. So like this part here, yeah, it's a little bit like this won't take too long, you know, pulling the body off and everything. This will definitely just, in general, just kind of wear out and just fall off. But I know like the other tethers, you know, on other vehicles, they're rubber. They only last so long, and then you're back to losing body clips like usual if you hit too hard or whatever. So I was kind of thinking, would it have been cool to put like some kind of mechanism to make it easy, not to say like Traxxas does, but something to that effect where it makes it easier to take the body off and on, easy, you know, pop it off. Who knows what would have happened with that one, like too many disasters. So I know they want to keep it cheap, so you keep adding more things to it, more weight. The vehicle is heavy. Adding that a little bit would definitely add like another pound. You don't want to add more weight, and this is only, it's a 6S system, and on a, well, 1/6 scale, we'll call it RC. So yeah, might be a little bit. We'll have to kind of, that's the other thing to kind of test out too, is the, you know, how hot is this motor going to get, you know, pushing this vehicle around. I would have liked this, man. I know 10 scale is probably not in here anymore, but it would be cool to weigh out how much because on the shredder I kind of looked on Redcat's website, and they didn't show you or tell you what the weight was on it. Like on this one, they're like, oh, it's 14.2 ounces or something right around there. Without, I think they call it dry or something. So, or at least without the batteries and things like that. So that would be, you know, how heavy is the shredder. We'll have to kind of see. Yo, what's up, man? What's up, Brett? The Machete. Get the sledge. Wow, yeah. Well, the sledge is more expensive. So I know people were saying when I first did a video on the shredder, on the Machete, someone was like, oh man, I was going to get the sledge. I think that was it. No, it's called something else. What's the other Traxxas one? The XR or something, whatever. I don't remember the name of it, but it's off my radar. But it was another, you know, it was a Traxxas vehicle, and this was definitely cheaper with the same, you know, a large scale vehicle. So, but we know as far as where we're at with the Machete at this point in time. I'm going to give it the benefit of the doubt. Wait for Redcat. Generally, if there's an issue, like they've already done, that it's going to be addressed. And hopefully, you know, this one sticks around and doesn't die out like the R5 did. Because, you know, one time, too many. So we don't want to, I want to see this one live. And this is more like their baby, so they want to take care of it. I mean, they did an awesome job with, again, it's not a bash or nothing like that. So it's easier to get those things, to call it right, because you're not jumping at people, you know, expectations for something like this. And I know that even the ramps that I saw one guy do, and he broke his and bent the arm, or the upper arm broke. And then also as far as just the front axle broke or bent when he was just jumping on, I forget, this is like Land Wave as far as just a ramp, the brand name of it. And I was like, man, I got those same ones. So I was like, if I'm jumping and that's going to break it, then, well, I'm not jumping it at all right now. So like I said, I'm going to do a video on this, just running it. Flatland, you know, as far as that one. I just want to see how hot it gets. We're in Florida, so I'll just see how hot the motor gets on 6S. We'll run 4S, 6S. I know that some people have done it, and see if we can make it a little bit quicker, maybe. But you know, at the end of the day, we gotta wait because we don't want to break this thing. So let me go ahead and show you from the front of it too. I think I missed a lot of that, but I do. It looks cool. Again, on video, I was like, oh man, I don't really like the body color, doesn't look right. But on this one, I was like, okay, in person it looks cool. And then also as far as, I mean, you guys have been seeing it, so I know some of you guys too. But I like as far as the chassis goes, that was really cool. I love the design of it. So again, I don't want to see, you know, Redcat scrap this one or something. I'd be like, oh man, we're not gonna we just can't seem to get it right or whatever. You know, again, I'm not speaking for Redcat. I'm just saying like a scenario. Like I don't want to see them say like, oh, we can't get it right, and we're just gonna, sorry man, we made you wait or whatever. And yeah, it's just not happening. I know that they'll be able to fix it, so I'm confident. But that was a low. That was a very minimal little drop, and it bottomed out pretty quick. So again, my shredder was pretty much the same thing. It was pretty sloppy as far as on the suspension. So there's fixes for that too, as far as like better springs in it and whatnot. But I would say that they probably need to address that because this is pretty heavy and it does not have batteries in it. So it's going to bottom out a lot. And if anything too, I would like to see some kind of like, I hate getting the aluminum all scratched up. I would like to see some kind of like, they came out with some kind of protective, I know it's going to add more weight to it or whatever, but some kind of protective tape or whatever, like what other people have done to just to protect it a little bit. I don't know. It'd be kind of nice. You don't want to put any plastic there because all of a sudden you're going to get sand in there. It's just going to get all messed up anyway. It's going to scratch it. So I don't know. Maybe just send it on its way. Do you know if the manufacturer makes front and rear steel aluminum diff housings for the shredder? I don't know. Is that I think that's like, is it HSP that made the shredder? I'm not 100% sure. I mean, it's not Redcat because if you go to like, I think it's Nitro Express or Nitro something Nitro. You guys who, I think it's like Nitro Express or something. I don't remember the name. Nitro. If you know, you know. As far as I forget who it was, but they had something like a shredder too, but that would be kind of where it originated from, and then Redcat might be sharing Redcat's little secret as far as too. But if you already know about RC stuff and you've been looking like, hey, that's like the Lightning and whatever else, and Redcat puts their own little branding on it. But yeah, this one's what they came up with. I don't know as far as offhand. I don't think so. Aluminum diff housing. That'd be kind of cool, but I've never seen anything like that. The shredder is pretty much, well, there's not many upgrades to as far as you get like the metal spur gear. What else is there? There might be a couple other little parts to it, but they didn't really do much to it. So yeah, I guess I don't know as far as that one goes. I'm amazed to see that the Machete became the new kaiju is awesome. Oh yeah, okay, I thought you were gonna say something. I was like, oh, it's under the chopping block as far as, because I mean we know that the kaiju had its issue, like I was saying earlier, where they had the issue with the upper arms. Mostly I think it was just the rear. Those were snapping. They came out with version 2. That seemed to address the issue. Like I said, my friend's got the Machete, not the Machete, the Kaiju EXT. I think he had the Kaiju too. I had the Kaiju. I did a video on that one. That was a while ago. But I never ran the Kaiju EXT. I was like, it's the same thing. It's a little bit longer, whatever. And I was like, nah. I didn't like the body on it. I like the body on this one. This definitely looks cool. And it looks like it's purposed a little bit as far as like it's got, a little bit of protection here and there. So I like that part of it. Like the front nose and everything. So you can see those little skid plates. So those are nice. I don't know about the wing. Again, it's using pretty stiff, rigid plastic. I don't know how that's going to work out. Like, at least on my shredder, and I could kind of twist it and bend and everything like that. I'm using that one as an example because, again, that held up really well for myself. Probably because I used a lot of WD-40 on it too. The WD-40, from what I've seen or heard, and I've used it just to get moisture out and whatever else, but it seems like it helps the plastics soften up a little bit. I don't know. But the plastics were already soft on the shredder. It's not like I used it and it softened everything up. No. But it seems to be a little bit, like that helps a little bit with the WD-40. Plus it looks a little shinier. But yeah, man, the wing was real flexible. So it would see it twisting in the videos, the chassis. You could kind of see it kind of like flex in. I don't see that happening with this one. This thing's really rigid. I'm a little scared with it. For the people that like to bash hard, I don't think, me personally, at this point in time, the way I see stuff made, that if it hits hard, it's just going to snap this wing brace off of it. So I think really Redcat needs to bash the snot out of this thing. I'm going to say something else. They need to bash this thing pretty good, give it to a few bash heads more or less, and you know, try to find more of the issue. They need to do a little more R&D before before you hey, we fixed this issue. We got some other things that are definitely going to be in the mix because people were just jumping a little bit and some of the components broke easier. We need to address like these bumpers. These bumpers should be, this is like a 50s car, man. It's like it doesn't give. Like you need it to give. You need some crash. You need that impact you need some give, man. We can't have this. So yeah, I'm a little concerned with those plastics on there. So we'll have to wait and see once the people, get one thing fixed, and then, we'll see what happens down the road. But again, like there's some stuff that's a little bit questionable that should have been softer. The DHK, oh yeah, like that. The DHK, what was that? The Maximus? The Maximus, that was. I had a buddy that I ran the Maximus. That was a DHK hobby one. They don't seem to be in existence anymore, at least not here in the US. They were kind of cool. And I had the Maximus. I think it was a 1/8 scale, whatever. It was pretty cool. It had like a gold chassis and all that stuff. It ran pretty good. I only used it a very short time, and then I had sold it to a friend. And he's like, dude, and I ran through the water. And then I had sold it to him, like, yeah, I only ran it once. And he's like, servo doesn't work. I was like, really? Well, let me give you a servo. And then from there, it was like the screw started backing out. I was like, dude. I was like, man, you're having all kinds of issues. Like, so it was like, metal screw into aluminum. That's already a no. You got to put Loctite on it. And of course they didn't as far as from the manufacturer, so screws back out. It was a big pain in the butt. So I remember that whole ordeal. I was like, man, cool truck, but got some funkiness to it. So that was the time of all the Banggood stuff, and I was like, oh man, these are cool. And then I was finding out, like, not really. So yeah, this fix Redcat is doing might bite them in the arse if more things start to break. Yeah, that's where I'm a little bit leery. I'm no engineer, but let's talk about the exposure of things that are supposed to bend and things that aren't. Bumper should bend. Wing is going to hit on the back. It should bend. All that stuff should bend. The plastic on here, again, like I'm just saying, like those would be the things. If you got one, if you're going to wait for one, I don't know. I'm not going to beat the snot out of this one. I just want to cruise it around, whatever. I already know its limitations. I can already see the limitations on things that, not as that great. So I know on like the Shogun, so let me show you this one. So even like, these things they're pretty solid as far as on this. And this is Team Crowley. This is a Team Crowley vehicle. This is a Redcat. But I'm just kind of flipping that Team Crowley came out was like, we know that they were pretty much like, call it Arma clones, for kind of a little bit of it because they were copying names and their looks and things. I was like, they should have never did that in the first place because that deterred a lot of people from buying them. I'm sure they're like, I don't want that thing. I can just go and buy an Arma and, go from there. And so they should just came out with their own deal. But anyway, there was issues with the wing mount. Like the first time I jumped it a few times, it had snapped off. And they're like, oh, version 2, it's stronger. Again, but it's not. They're too solid. Like, you got to give it flex, man. You got to have flexible plastics in there that can give. It's okay for things to kind of move around and stuff. So, I don't know. So, but that's that on that one. But I do like the Team Crowley. I was going to say Arma again. So, this thing, but yeah, as far as everything else goes, I mean, what else do you guys, if you don't have one, you can't touch and feel like, oh yeah, like the back end of it here, we can see the wheelie bar. They're not, I think they're just spinning like they're not like bearings or anything like that I'm aware of. It doesn't look like it. But it spins easy, so I don't know if it is on a bearing or not. It could just be riding just on the plastic on, but it spins nice. You know that? I take that back. This one spins nice. That one doesn't. So you definitely want. You need to adjust that. But she looks cool, sitting there. So we'll see. It might be just a sitter. It might just sit there and look pretty, and call it a day. Then on. Oh yeah. Let's see. Oh, what's up, Gap? What's going on, bro? Dion. Sorry, Dion. My bad. I was like thinking differently. Hey, what's up, RC Show Off? What's going on, man? What's up, Gap? Yo. Sorry, I was a little bit zoning there. So I did the unboxing, Gap, just like you did, straight out the box. I didn't have the problem with the shocks, but since you're sitting here, seeing like what does Joe think, whatever. I'd like to get a little bit more. I'd like to see a little bit more. I would like to have done some kind of like a stream on this between like Gap. I was like, man, I'd like to pick your brain so other people can. But like the wing, doesn't it? It feels pretty rigid. Like a lot of these plastics that probably should give a little bit seem pretty rigid. So I like the front bumper. Those are things like I'm sure you can agree on when you were touching it that you're like, oh, that might not be so great. So, but again, I don't want to jump the gun or anything like that. That's just what I'm looking at. And it does come with some little stickers and stuff like that. You're number one. So we'll see how everything kind of goes. Probably should have had another 6 in there. And we call it a day. Who knows what's happening with this deal. But hopefully all is good, man. For real, on the real side of it all, I hope, Redcat does fix this issue and potential other issues that could come their way. I was kind of looking through here. It's pretty basic manual. That's another thing they didn't do. And I think because of the internet and whatever, there's no exploded views. So you don't get anything. All right, so if you're new to the hobby and you're like, hey, I know a lot of people that, buy RC cars and they're like, I don't want to take that apart. Yeah, I'm kind of there with you on some stuff. So exploded views make it a little bit rest easy. So there could be, I didn't look. I could have sworn I saw the download and I downloaded it and it showed like ESC, tuning, all that. I don't know if I saw an exploded view. I would like to see kind of a breakdown like, oh, if I need to put this all back together kind of thing, how would I go about it? So I would like to see Redcat do that if it's not available as of yet. Like show us a breakdown because that's always nice to see. Oh, here's the part numbers, whatever. There's no part list in here and I get it. We're in 2023 and online access. It is nice to have it. I know a lot of you guys are like, and you put it aside. I usually will keep those manuals, and I had like stacks of manuals for a long time. I finally got rid of them because I'm like, I don't even own these cars anymore. But I kind of hoarded the manuals for a while. They are nice, and when I've had customers before like, hey, do you have the manual for this? And I was like, I can't find it online. I'm like, actually, I do still have that manual. So what part number are you looking for? And I would tell them what it is. Like, oh man, cool, I appreciate that one. I'm like, yeah, dude, no problem. Because I know people pick these things up secondhand and they're like, I don't know what it is. If you're experienced or kind of seasoned vet when it comes to RC stuff, not a big deal. You can tear stuff apart, put it back together, if your memory's good or whatever. But if you're kind of still new and you're like, I don't know, remember how that kind of went, it would be nice to kind of still see if they're using shims or whatever that they needed to do and that was part of the procedure. So I'll have to see. I'll have to look. I'll look. Let's see here. The R5 was garbage. Yeah, I think the R5 had a sexy body. Really wish it had been better engineered. Yeah, I thought for the most part that was kind of like the Rampage, if I'm not mistaken. Because I looked at it, I was like, yeah, it's like a Rampage. So, but the Rampage wasn't really much of. But they put like But the R5 was that 8S? Yeah, it was a contender with. Right, it was 8S, if I'm not mistaken, for like the X Max kind of thing to go after, which was like shot them in the foot. It was nowhere close. I remember them doing Redcat, when they did like an outtake or a blooper, and they're like, oh, it broke. And I was like, your R5 broke? And I get it. Hey, things are going to break. And a lot of companies will be like, no. We jumped it. It kind of bent and broke or whatever. Get another one and stick it out there and run it. But they showed it as that they had broke it as kind of a funny thing or whatever happened. I was like, I was already looking at that vehicle like, no, I'm not buying that sucker. That looked like it was easily broken. So, yeah, this gives, I don't know. We'll have to, yeah. Sales were not good anyway on this vehicle. They kind of sat there, and I'm sure they halted real quick. Once someone saw a video of it, like, no more. Hold on, I got. It's been a little bit rough with Redcat anyway. So I've been trying. Let's see. Sup, bro? I ordered the Maverick. Oh, the Ion Truggy. Finally from you guys. Yeah, I'm excited. All right, the unknown, man. I appreciate that, bro. So thank you. I remember that just came up recently too. That was like what, yesterday or so. So I definitely appreciate that one. I had to clean up a lot of stuff here because, well, I've been doing little side jobs as far as to. I got a lot of computers, so that's kind of like, yeah. So computers and speakers and everything, and you know, a lot of other little stuff here and there. But yeah, that's what I'll be doing for probably a few weeks as far as that one goes, working on computers. So just to fix them up, sell them, whatever, play around with them, tinker with them. But yeah, RC stuff. Yep. What's the Volkswagen buggy behind you? So that one is a Kyosho. So that's my little leaker. So no, this is I have. This is from the very like. It's probably one of the first Kyosho cars I had when I first started selling Kyosho, but the shocks leaked. They leaked from the very beginning. But it's cool. It's using a phaser, yeah, the phaser chassis, but it was like the previous version of the phaser. If you know anything about, you know, as far as the Kyosho stuff, now they have, we'll call it the MK2 or whatever they did. It's a newer chassis. This one had the previous chassis before that, but yeah, you can see it. So maybe one of the tires looks a little bit shinier than the rest because it just kind of oozed and leaked out. I tried to fix them and then they just kind of leaked out. It was a cool car. It was a cool little buggy. So you can see it as far as, I put a different motor in there. I think it came with a brushless system in there. That Team old crap Orion stuff. Yeah, that stuff's garbage. Their stuff, their electronic. I don't know how much as far as the Team Orion or whatever, but they're expensive and they bland as far as when it comes to their motors. They're not impressive at all. So I think that's what, if I'm not mistaken, a lot of the Kyosho stuff they stopped using that. At least I hope so. But yeah, the brushless systems for the most part they were pretty bad. Because I got a drift car, it was like a Mitsubishi Evo whatever one, and I was like, it was brushless, and I was like, their phaser brushed versions were running just as fast as their brushless one. It was pretty slow. Just kind of give you an idea. But looks great. Any recommendations for the Maverick Ion Truggy as far as upgrades are concerned? Dude, those things have loads of upgrades for it. And you do all this aluminum parts to it and everything like that. Me personally, it just depends on, you know, you just running around. You know, I always just kind of do it, fix it as it breaks. You know, as far as I didn't have the ones that I've sold, no one's really said nothing like, oh, you know, had any issues. They've been out for a little while too. They've been for a few years now. They're on the Maverick side of like HPI. They're little RC cars. I had one for a little bit. That was pretty fun. I think I did a video on it. Did I do a video on the Ion? Maybe I did. I know. No, sorry. I didn't have one. My friend Sean had one, and I just kind of showed that running around. I was like, that thing's pretty cool. But if you're in the RC stuff, it's like, oh, next week, what do you got? And they'll have something different. I was like, he was always trading all the time. So I was like, all right. Not that he doesn't like it. He just kind of like keep on moving, you know, keeping the excitement going. So yeah, and then this here, I don't know if this this number is just the actual. I thought Gap had said something about keep the such and such, like there was a serial number or something. I don't know if there's some kind of serial number that's associated with each individual car, but I don't see one as far as that one goes. But I thought I saw something like this, and I was like, oh, that's it. This device is extremely. This is just for the transmitter. This is basically FCC jargon stuff on there. So how's the weather down there? Oh man, are they 2S capable? So I think they use a Li-ion battery or something like that. So I think they're still like 7.2, 7.4 volts. So you could still, don't see a problem with putting a LiPo in there as long as the ESC is capable of detecting low voltage. That would be the main thing. And you'd have to put in a low voltage alarm if it didn't have one, so you don't go below your, let's say, 3 volts on your LiPo, and then you can't recover it. If you know, you know. You can, but yeah, it's not fun, and there's tricks to it. That's that. Let's see here. I've had to do it once before. As far as with the weather, I think it's probably higher 70s or something like. It's not. I like it a little bit cooler. It was cooler a couple days ago. That was nice. Cooler meaning it was like probably like low 70s and maybe into the 60s or something like that. That was nice. Now it's just gotten hot again. So, yo, you're right. I'll check it out when I get it. So, yeah, you can definitely. Do you guys have a Facebook page? Yeah, we do. Just, I think it's just OMGRC. You can look it that way on OMGRC. Actually, it's in the link in the description. Should be right in there as when I make it. So you can look on, yeah, just look at the video, link in the description, and it'll say Facebook on there. We do have another page, like Facebook, like group. I don't really my wife does a lot more in there than I do, but she'll post stuff or whatever for Fridays, like, or St. Patrick's Day, that just, as far as drink some green beer, just coloring, but yeah, those kind of things. So it's cool, yeah, but we post it. So anytime I do like some kind of mail, I'll send out an email or whatever. Sometimes I'll be able to, depending, I'll make the email go to Facebook as well. Or if I post on Instagram, I'm on Instagram too, it'll post to, since they're connected, Facebook, Instagram, it'll post to Facebook as well. Try not to go overlap each other. Yeah, so that's that. So what else is going? It's been a while, man, since I've done video. So I definitely appreciate you guys just kind of sticking around. I know it's a new vehicle. As far as when it comes to, it's issues. But, dude, at the end of the day, on looks, if I was just like, dang, that's a cool looking RC car, then, hey, it's got my attention. That's why I liked it from the first place. I was like, oh, man, I thought about doing the 4S version of it. And I was like, you know what? For the little bit of difference there is, do the 6S, even if running on 4S, you still got that, that extra voltage that you have to have a little bit more fun with it. So, yeah, I don't know. Well, time will tell. Hopefully time won't take too long for them to resolve it, but I don't want them to go too fast either. As far as Redcat, I want them to take their time, and if anything, send me another vehicle that I can bash it and see what else breaks on it. How about that one? I would like to do that. We'll set up some ramps. We'll set the ramps up just how I used to jump my shredder. I double stacked them so it had a nice steep incline on it, and then sent it on its way. But I did quite a few videos on, again, I used to take the shredder out, 1/6 scale, whatever you want to call it as far as the scale goes. And that was a car I took out and knew I'd take it back home, and it wasn't broken. So I was happy with it. Oh, let's see. Oh, how's my dragster? Oh, the dragster? I haven't done any drag racing. That's pretty much been on, I wouldn't even call it hold. It's just pretty much been, the group I was hanging out with, they got seriously into it. Beyond me, where I was just like, you know what? That's a lot of money dumping. And times have gotten super slow when it comes to money allowance. So I was like, you know what? Nah, I'm not really chasing the time or anything like that. I had fun in the very beginning of drag racing. It was awesome. I'm looking at one of my drag cars as far as the body on it. But I don't have any drag cars anymore. I do have my drift car, kind of torn apart. I was waiting for differential, but I haven't got interested in as far as drifting right now. So, and I was going to get the drift car from Redcat. I was like, oh, that'd be kind of cool. And just haven't pulled the trigger as far as to get one of those. I thought that one was pretty cool. I don't know how many people have thought of it like that one, but again, it was like, it's not a big amount of people that like that, but it's the same thing with like their lowriders. But the lowriders look pretty. They've come out with a lot of stuff for the lowrider. I was pretty impressed as far as all that. I was like, yeah, I should get one. They had like $100 off on their. Sorry, excuse me, on their lowriders, and I was like, oh, that's cool. You know, for customers, whatever. And I was like, and even before that, last year where they had a lot of deals, it was pretty dope. I want to get one of the old Redcat drift cars, the red one. Oh yeah, like the Lightning EPX Drift. It's a drift car, kinda. It's all-wheel drive, so you're not really. When you get into anyway, it's more of a power slide as far as power sliding it, whatever. But it was fun. I called it a drift car when I got one. I was like, this is cool to kind of drifting around. It's all-wheel drive sliding around. It's more versatile. So hey, if you got their drift car specific rear-wheel drive, you know, you need the gyro and all that stuff. That one, it's not tailored to a lot of people. It's pretty much tailored to people that, hey, if you got a place that's nice and smooth, yeah, you can run it there. But that's where the all-wheel drive, that one makes sense. Because at the end of the day, you can slap some rubber tires on it, and then you can send it and you can put a different brushless system, put a brushless system in it, make it faster, and yeah, so it's more versatile on that one. Where the drift car is pretty much, well, it's going to be a drift car, and it's carbon fiber, it's going to get all scratched and beat up. You don't want that unless you're running on a smooth surface. So that would be that. I wouldn't use it for drifting. Yeah, exactly. That's what I did. I did it for a really short time, and then I put rubber tires on there and then sent it on its way. Yeah, I didn't do that either. And did you see, as far as this, the Tornado, Redcat updated their Tornado. It's got like Redcat motor now. It's got different things that are on there. Nothing really too different on that part of it. That was kind of like a give me, hey, we're coming on. We got like 9 vehicles coming out. That was like, we will refresh that one. Make it tailor it a little bit to us. But this would be, I think like the lowrider they had, was that like the chrome chassis? I don't know if that was like part of it. But definitely the drift car. This one, as far as the Machete 4S, 6S. And they got some more stuff that's coming out. If they're learning a lesson right now, if they did a redesign or a new ground up design, they need to take note on, because they just did this one, like, hey, you know what? Do a few runs of that car or truck, whatever, and let someone give it to like at least 5 different people or something and get a better idea. If you could do more, probably better. And let them beat it up and see if you know, people have what mixed results, or if it seems to be very consistent results. Again, but in manufacturing, once you're like, okay, yep, we like it, we jumped it, whatever, everything seems to be good on that batch of run, and then all of a sudden they're like, okay, now we're going to produce, like, we're going to run a big run of these things, and then something goes wrong and the material that they're using doesn't work, and then they put it together and someone falls asleep. I don't know what happens, but whatever happened on that part of it, yeah, like Monday cars or whatever it was, or it's Friday, you want to go home and just stick it together. Like, as far as the shocks coming off, I was like, did they even try to put that on there? Just like, put it in the box, send it on its way, they'll fix it. I don't know what happened with some of those. Like, how does the shock just come off in shipping? There's something wrong. Those guys who built one to do 75 miles an hour with a Redcat. Oh yeah, those definitely moving quick. Never going to get a basher as, oh, let's see. Never going to be good as a basher. Yeah, exactly. It's not really a bash as far as this one goes anyway. The XRT or even a 8K, I don't know if that's, but will be good for, oh, okay. I guess Lightning. Okay, Paul, what's up, Paul? Mr. Clancy? Yeah, I appreciate you joining in, man. Appreciate all you guys joining in too. So that's definitely cool. So definitely smash the thumbs up. I like that where Gap Reviews is like, hey man, he says something like, don't disrespect my house, wipe your feet before you come in. I like this, something like that. I was like, that's pretty cool. So smash the thumbs up. I was like, I'm not taking that from him, but I'm just saying, when I see him doing his lives, I thought that's pretty funny how he does that. He's got some pretty unique styles there. I like it. So let's see. The Machete is as big as the E-Revo. So the E-Revo was a 1/8 scale, or is a 1/8 scale, right? Yeah, I'm not mistaken, the E-Revo. So as far as the E-Revos I've seen, run, or whatever, those are 1/8 scale. So that would be more like I don't know what the scale or the measurement is, so I can't really just say, oh yeah, here's an e-revo, this is what it is. But it would definitely be a little bit shorter than as far as this one goes, unless I don't think they come out with anything bigger as far as e-revo. I'll look too, but you can look online as far as you want Traxxas. But it's about 20. Let's go ahead. You know what? Never measured it here. We'll put the measuring tape out. That way you guys kind of get an idea. I can't see it, so let me go ahead and just measure it from, we'll call it the tip of the wing. So it is slightly over 27 inches long. I can keep everything from not falling on the ground. Sorry about that, microphone people. Yeah, you kind of get an idea. Of course, again, I don't know exactly where that's at. I don't have. Here, we'll kind of. This is just. There's a battery. We can kind of get maybe line it up a little bit, somewhere right around. Anyways, about a little over 27 inches. So, bust out your measuring tape there. 27. I don't know what it is in millimeters or whatever. You gotta do the calculation. I googled it. So, but yeah. So they kind of get the idea that you can't really see it anyway. It's pretty blurry, but you'd be like, yo, you get the idea. It's a pretty long vehicle. Let's see, the Machete big as the X-Max or XRT. Machete is big as the XRT. I think that's what someone was saying. It's about that class. Let's see here. No, it's classified as a one. Oh, what? Is it 110 skid? The E-Revo? Hold on here. I could have sworn that was a 1/8 scale. Let's see. Traxxas. It's a 1/8 scale. The E-Revo VXL. That's a 1/8 scale. Yeah. Let me see. I don't know if that. Let's see. I remember the old one. I don't know what size did they say. The E-Revo. The E-Revo. Let's see. It's 4x4. It's 549. Weighs 11 point. Man, it's pretty heavy. 11.2 ounces. I mean, this is like 14, so it's a little bit bigger. I don't know what the. Now watch it. My little sign. Hold on. Okay. All right, let me look. Does it say? I don't know what the length is on it, man. I just gotta have details. Maybe. I'll have to see what that E-Revo. It's thinking. God, is it taking a long time? Please hurry up. Source. Yo. All right, well, we can't really wait for all the specs on. Oh, here it is. So it's 23.05 as far as the E-Revo. There. So it's 27. A little over 27. So kind of give you an idea. If you have an E-Revo or you got a measuring tape, you can look that way. But that's kind of where it's at. Amazing, the Traxxas Plastics RCs weighs more than other brand metal chassis. Yeah, right? So they're pretty thick. So yeah, it's kind of interesting as far as some of the plastics and then compared to the metals or aluminums. Like there's a little bit difference with the aluminum. But yeah, but it is it is a heavier gauge. Well, it's a different aluminum, 775. As far as when it comes to a metal versus plastic chassis, to be real with you, at the end of the day, I like plastic chassis better. One, they're going to be cheaper. It's going to be more durable. Rocks hit it, whatever. I don't care so much. It gets scratched up. But on the aluminum looks really nice. And once it gets all scratched up, you're like, oh man, like it just takes away. So let me show you like on the bottom of this thing here too. So this looks nice, right? And did you see the video of Redcat running this thing? Also, they ran through a bunch of rocks. And it got stuck on a rock, or it didn't get stuck, but it rolled over a rock. Like it was a pretty decent sized boulder for this thing. I was like, God, man, you could have picked like better terrain or whatever. Like, who runs it in a bunch of rocks? But they're in Arizona, so I don't know where the person that filmed it, if it was Redcat or not. But I did like as far as the track that they went to where they were jumping, and I was like, okay, those jumps are pretty. They're minor jumps, whatever. They're not I like, and in some way it set the stage. When they were jumping on those tracks, okay, they're showing it as it's not a basher. Like you can jump it on those parts, but we're not sending it shooting way high in the air and like, yeah, man, this thing, like that's. So I like that they did that because if they would have shown it jumping high in the air and landing it and things like that, it would have set a different standard for it for me. So I was like, all right, whatever. It's low slung in the first place, so there's not a lot of shock travel, suspension travel. So, that's what's going to happen with this thing, is that it's going to bottom out. And I only dropped it from not even a foot, and it bottomed out. So, yeah, you can increase the, maybe get better springs for it and things like that. But it's going to make it stiffer, and, it's going to put more, stress on other little components as far as to compress the suspension. But it would definitely be nicer to see the, Jesus. It'd be good to see it firmed up a little bit. And that's not even with batteries in there, so. But it kind of follows the same suit as the Shredder. That Shredder, it was loose booty. As far as that thing was definitely, it was pretty, I couldn't drop it any higher than that I did with this one, and it was pretty soft suspension on it too, so definitely it follows suit as far as that one goes. Let's see, the metal flat chassis performs better by plastic better than regular battery. Let's see, flat metal chassis perform better, but plastic better. Regular, okay, better for regular bashers. I mean, however you want, if you call it, it's not, that's not flat metal because obvious, but I know what you're saying as far as that one. Like it has ridges to keep it more rigid, it has areas like that, and that's why it's got the top brace on there. Of course, even with the plastic one, you'd want to have some upper bracing, upper support. But yeah, on Traxxas and things like that, like those are pretty good. I've always liked the Traxxas as far as like the Slash, the 4x4, very easy to work on. I like, you like 4 screws, pops the back end off, I don't know about the servo getting to it, but as far as getting to some of the other components like the X-Max, it was easy to work on the ring gears, thankfully, because those always would break. I'm going back referring to older stuff and older issues and things like that. But as long as I don't know how easy it is. Again, let's go. I'll just take it off and kind of look. I didn't really look to see like really hardware. I know it's all, hex, yeah. Allen, whatever you want to call it as far as a little bit. Yeah, I would say like even just trying to get now as far as like, let me flip it over on my side so I can see it. There's I don't know, there's quite a bit of screws that are on it, obviously to mount stuff down, and I don't know how well you'll see it too. So I know maybe I'm beating the dead horse a little bit here, just kind of going over it a little bit, but I figured, hey, if you guys are watching, you got questions, comments to talk about other vehicles, cool. But as far as when it comes to this vehicle, again, I'm going to say it's not going to be it doesn't look fun to work on. I don't know yet. Again, you didn't give me an exploded view to kind of take a look at all of it. And again, like I'll have to look on Redcat's website if by chance what is it? If they say like, hey, there's exploded view, how you can get to the diffs. Let's check out the diffs. I'm missing a bunch of stuff. The diffs they're not like real spinning where, there's some fluids in there. Let's take another look. So as far as the center differential is what I'm spinning, you can hear those metal gears, hopefully. So we can hear metal on metal. So we know that those are metal gears, where the Shredder was plastic gears. But it's using a third gear in here. Ah, man, I would like to know what the heck I forgot the name of it. So maybe someone else can search it and be like, yeah, it's this. Because offhand, I forget what they called it. But it was kind of like, oh, that's kind of cool. I don't know what exactly it's supposed to do better. Let's see, the Machete's good for, let's see, is a good RC modifying as long as the diffs are stout. Yeah, we'll have to see how stout the gears are. Even on 6S, if you're just punching it and whatever else. Yeah, we'll have to see how that. But I will get a running video of this. I do want to run it, which is a little bit cooler. Huh? Let's see. I just more RC oriented. Oh, okay, yeah, more RC orientated. Yeah, I mean, as far as like with the plastic. Yeah, so that's why I like plastic chassis too. Like this has been cool. Hey, it's plastic chassis. That's fine. And just made it, with the honeycomb in there, made it stout that way. That'd be fine. Are you selling Redcat still? I thought you said no. Oh yeah, I'm still selling the Redcat stuff, but I was not pushing them for a very long time. Not after they did me dirty a couple times. So, and they still do. I think a lot of dealers dirty. So I don't know. I'm on the fence with it all, but it's not like I was not going out of my way to buy a Redcat vehicle. Um, I think they did that with a lot of dealers. They're trying to just, sell directly, and they're pretty much just kind of shooting themselves in the foot because, if you launch something that's new and you're taking, hey, yeah, we're gonna take pre-orders. I was like, all right, cool, pre-orders. Well, I go on to my dealer website. I couldn't do it. I'm going to refer to, what was that? I think it wasn't the Machete. So on the Machete, they're like, hey, free for all. Like, it doesn't matter. But I think it was like one of the lowriders. They had a limited edition lowrider. That wasn't available for dealers. It was just for Redcat only exclusive. But I think it had like 100 or 1,000 available. But there's been times where I've looked on there. Oh, it's something new. Again, I can't remember what it was exactly. But it was one of them at a lowrider. We'll go with a lowrider. Where like, hey, they're available. Oh, yeah, you're online. Yeah. Well, you've been with us for a little bit, but you can't order any until we say so. And so it's not available on a dealer website. And I was like, it's pretty messed up. And so you're going to get first bids on it. Now, what they've done recently is like, hey, we're not going to take any orders on the vehicle for, I think they did it for like 15 days or something like that. I was like, fair enough, man. That, hey, if I can sell some, let's say, for instance, a lowrider or whatever, I get first dibs more or less. Any of the dealers would get first dibs. And before Redcat would say, hey, we turned the switch on, and now anybody that goes to our website can order one as well. So I was like, okay, it's a little bit fair game on that one, no problem. But it's when sometimes it just depends, man. So I just kind of roll with it for the most part. And it's like, whatever, Redcat, this, that. I still like Redcat. It was my foundation for starting the channel in the first place, getting the website going. And without Redcat, wouldn't have given me anything to really, start the business. So I'm really always kind of, as much as I don't like some stuff, I do still like Redcat. But there's been times where I'm just like, I don't know. But I've gotten frustrated with pretty much every company because there's just stuff that, at the end of the day, man, we're all wanting to have fun, and they really sometimes just build stuff like crap. And like they ask a lot as far as the prices on them, and they're just really, they don't care. They're looking just to fill their pockets. And it can be with just the crawlers. Crawlers are a prime example. They're not getting LED lights. You're not getting like interior with them. You're not getting things that should come in there for the price tag that you're offering. Like, why doesn't it come with it? And you give me a brush motor, and I can buy for that price. I can get myself a big old freaking RC car that just run the crap out of that thing. And you give me a brush system and like a 40 amp ESC and a crap mode, radio. And they ask like $600 for an RC car. And it's like, get out of here, man. That's where I was like, kind of like, the crawler tax on it is ridiculous sometimes. Reduction gear, appreciate that one, Dion. So yeah, so there's my rant, my thing on as far as Redcat, and that's just with everything. I've gotten heated up with others as far as Kyosho. It's like, man, just gotta calm down a little bit. We'll get it taken care of. Because I pretty much want stuff like a lot of you guys want stuff shipped out right away. Everything, that's how I am. I want things to be fixed right away. I don't want to have to wait for them. I don't want my customers waiting. And I get impatient because I know I can almost feel like anybody else's tension. Like, I want to get this thing done. I want to get it fixed. I want it off my plate. And that's how I am as far as I want stuff done. And I don't see why, in some cases, like, make it happen. Because this is a hobby and people can say, nope, don't want it. and I need things to happen right away because, business is difficult sometimes, and in a demand of, what we're in, that, things just have to happen quick. I don't want excuses. I want answers. I want, things resolved. So that's kind of where I'm at with it. And I've kind of got myself burned out with some of that stuff where it's just like, for the most part, as far as my distributor goes, like everything's been pretty cool on it. It has gotten a little bit shaky when it comes to just the amount of people that don't work there, where it's just like they're just short-handed. We know as far as when it comes to the workforce that some people aren't working and or don't want to work, or they're, whatever it may be. And it's just making it in certain areas too, regions, that it just makes it hard for them to get help. So then they're short-handed, and then that's all they can do. Like, hey, we just don't have the manpower to get things done as quick as we would like, and you. So it's kind of it's tough, but just business, the cold world. Yeah, exactly. It is. It's pretty bad. So they had no problem giving out the Gen 9 to people who. Oh, let's see. Oh yeah, the Gen 9. There's one. That was it. Denounce them in within yeah. So like that Gen 9, I think that was the one that I couldn't get. Was it? Or maybe that was the one I could get. And let me see. You know how many I sold? 0. Didn't sell any of those things. I don't know. I was like, okay. I know the market's slow as far as for the hobby and in general. That's why a lot of these companies have been given like incentives, like more or less, hey, here's $100 off, here's this or there, and to get people to buy and just get rid of inventory in general. But it's just getting down to the point of, I don't know what's happening with as far as the economy in the first place. I don't know. I'm sure a lot of you guys, I don't know how as far as where you're at, whatever, but you're in the U.S. So, have you've gone to like, hey, I was buying stuff more, a year or two ago. Of course, a lot of people are buying stuff, so you don't have to tell me. I know, by numbers don't lie. So, but as far as like the last year, well, it's been pretty dog slow when it comes to the RC stuff. But I don't make videos so much anymore like I used to when I was like definitely more into it. But once sales go down, then so does my passion to make any videos. So, but this was one that I was like, this will be cool. No. We'll have to. But again, it's difficult sometimes as far as, how it is. You get ups and downs when it comes to anything, and it's a hobby, so it's kind of on, it's off, it's put to the back burner. Got to do some other stuff, and in this case here, it is full-time business, but at this point in time, it's become a part-time business, and kind of have to see where it kind of goes from there. So that's why I don't do so many videos, because I just don't have the budget anymore. When there's not big margins on RC cars, and some of them do have decent amount. Like Team Crowley is nice, generous, but we don't sell a lot of Team Crowley stuff. So those have nice margins to that are profitable. And other ones, this one's it's okay, but there's other companies, HPI, not really, unless you buy like a Savage. So you get a $200, $250 car, and you're like, hey man, can I get a discount code? Like, hey, can I get a freaking break on shipping, and everything else, so I can actually make some money? So, and that's why I've taken a lot of like the discounts off, because like there's no sense in me selling in a car and then putting a discount plus the shipping cost. You gotta know the ins and outs, man. Yeah, it ain't panning out so well as far as when it comes to that. I'm just being real. So if you're looking to get into it, as far as sell the cars, it might be look somewhere else. So, and that's what I've been doing. I've been looking for something else too. But I still want to keep the RC stuff, because I definitely love the RC hobby, but it's not a business that at this point in time, you got a lot of big businesses and they can demand, where a little guy and like myself, you're trying to get, discounts or whatever else and in the economy, for the most part, it's just the economy at this point in time is just pretty bad. So Horizon runs, monopoly for sure. So I own a business too, and the big guys make the money. The small guys, suffer. Exactly. Yes, and Horizon, I don't buy from Horizon. I used to do like Tower Hobbies, because that's what I kind of grew up on. Tower Hobbies, Stormer, I think it's Stormer RC, something like that. Stormer Hobbies. That was back in the 90s and things like that. So like I had bought from Tower Hobbies and all that. It's like, oh, that's cool. But then they got bought out, and I was like, I don't like that company as far as Horizon Hobbies. I don't like the Spectrum stuff. It's garbage for the most part. It used to be probably better. I've heard too much negatives about it to see there's any positives in there. I'm sure like the better stuff probably, but you know, it seems like a lot of stuff's kind of like gotten cheaper, and they ask a lot of money for stuff. I don't know. You guys let me know. I don't want to make it like a downer, like, oh man, it's Friday, it's my weekend. This guy's kind of bringing me down. I don't want to do it like that, but it's just one of those things. Like, you guys let me know. But, you know, you seem like a lot of stuff that's kind of getting a little chintzy on stuff. Like, hey, let's put the love back into the RC stuff. And, you know, that's why I pretty much pulled the trigger on the Redcat. I was like, oh man, you know, I like to see, that was a small business, for somewhat small. But, you know, when you have to spend hundreds of thousands of dollars to run something, as far as, I'm sure they probably spent just to order them all, who knows how many hundreds of thousands of dollars to get these trucks in, and then to have that issue. So still kudos to Redcat for, you know, letting everybody know right away. So yeah, man, I appreciate that one. I don't shop at either. Yeah, I don't either. I mean, unfortunately, like, I've gone to A-Main because, one, some of the stuff I don't sell. And then as far as, yeah, pretty much that. Like, I like this. I was getting into like MST, right? MST. So anyway, the drift car stuff. So I was like, I can't get it. So I would buy them, or I'd go to like Super G and go there. Pretty much I was getting a lot of stuff from Super G at one time. And I only get a couple parts from like A-Main at the time. But I mean, I know it's a competitor, but at the end of the day too, it's kind of like I need those parts. So there are some local hobby shops too, but a lot of local hobby shops here, they don't have drift car stuff. So I'd have to order it anyways. But there is one, they're further away from me. They're like, I don't know how long, probably further than I want to drive, so for convenience. So, you know, I know how you guys are too. It's like, hey, I'll order it, or you'll go to your local shop, and that's cool, you know. Hey man, can't tell you to shop where you don't shop there or whatever. Do you have a racetrack with your store? So only thing I have, Jess, is going to be just online only. So that was my thing. It was like, I want a low overhead. So that's why I've been around, because I don't have a lot of overhead, and I just have my website. But obviously I got to eat, you know, family's got to eat. So, you know, that's why I've been doing a lot of more side stuff too. But yeah, I mean, as far as when it comes to, yeah, just online only. So I don't have a shop, but I've had people call me like, hey man, you got a shop locally? Or because I do answer the phone, you know, usually like someone calls me in the morning or whatever. It's like, hey, I'm looking for this, whatever. Like, oh, it's kind of cool that, you know, you answer the phone. So that most places just have, you can email them, or you can talk on, you know, on chat. I don't like the chat stuff. It's okay, like quick, hey man, this is what's going on in chat, but I'm not a chatter. I didn't like that when I worked as a technician. Like, I don't like troubleshooting via chat. I want to talk to somebody. Like, hey, do this, do that, do that. Just, you know, what happened to talking to people? It's like gone. So that's kind of my own thoughts on that one. It's nice when you can talk to a person. I hate prompts. Stupid. As far as just ring. Yep, got an issue. Cool. Send you over to such and such person. And that's it. Make it quick. You know, let's bring it back to, you know, customer service. You know, when it comes to fixing things and talking to people, and stop putting them through a whole, you know, we can all go all day long on everything. At the end of the day, man, we got this Machete. We're going to have to sit it there. But like I said, I'll run a video on this one, see how fast it goes, have fun with it a little bit, and hopefully nothing happens. And kind of give you my thoughts on it anyway. But it is cool. It is a cool looking truck. And again, that's why I bought it, for my personal self. And I thought about sending it back, like I said. And then I was like, you know what? It's cool. I'll wait. You know, Redcat's kind of like a little bit like me. We're not big. I mean, I shouldn't even compare, because Redcat's freaking huge compared. I mean, they have employees. Myself or my wife, you know. But they're not big like Traxxas and stuff like that I'm aware of. You know, they don't have parts on it. You know, you go to these things are on there kind of tight. You don't go to a hobby shop and like, oh, whole bunch of Redcat stuff. Pretty much like, you got any Redcat stuff? No. And that's where dealers stop kind of using the Redcat stuff too. Like, you know, this is like a prime example of, even though Redcat is trying to do a cleanup job as quick as possible and rectify the issue, you know, when it comes to, I mean, these are mom and pop shops. I mean, these aren't big ballers, you know, that are sitting there with loads of customers coming in. You know, when you guys get your little rewards and everything like that, you know, who does that really hurt? That hurts the smaller companies too, because they just can't compete with that amount of volume. And when you're selling volume, you can give discounts and you can get better shipping rates. But when you're a small company, you can't get better discounts and, you know, maybe even better prices on the RC cars that you know, like to buy. So that's the only thing about big box places that, you know, they can squash the little people. And then it's a monopoly, like what as far as other guys said. So yeah, it's just a sad truth, man. So it's kind of like, definitely want to see you run it. Yeah, definitely, Mr. K-Pex. I will definitely run this thing. So look out for that one, because this thing's sick looking. I'm hoping I'll run it soon. What is it? It's Friday, so that's good. So I'm hoping we'll see what's going on. Usually some of the guys I hang out with will run on Sundays. So maybe I'll see how the weather is. Man, I had to go out there early because they want to get together, you know, tan people around noon. Yeah, it's so nice out. Like, I'm freaking melting here, bro. Like, this is it's bad on my skin, even though there's sunscreen. So I'm white, man. I don't like the sun. I like overcast. I'm happy with overcast. So I like it dark. So my wife likes it be bright. I'm like, God, man, killing me here. So I feel like a vampire. But yeah, man, I'll definitely get a video of this thing. This thing's sick. I'll run on 4S, run on 6S. We'll be good to go on that part of it. So I appreciate you guys sticking around, man. 17 people. Hey, man, we had a little bit more than that at the time. But if you are here and just kind of watching, you know, if you got any questions or whatever, I've kind of gone over, you know, stick around. Well, wait for that video. And also, as far as definitely smash the thumbs up. It helps for sure with any of that stuff. I know, like I said, you can't... I haven't made a lot of videos or anything like that, but there hasn't been anything new that really catches my attention to really, like, you know what, it's worth my money to spend. And that my money is, well, you guys that go to the website, omgrc.com, and you buy stuff. So when you go there, that helps support. You watch my videos on YouTube, you give it the thumbs up, it helps the algorithm, it makes everything happier. And that's a good support. Even if you're not going to buy anything from us, hey, watch a couple of videos. You know, obviously the ads are what pay for it. They're small little, you know, pocket change, but it all adds up at the end of the day. And yeah, that's kind of like one way to do it. But yeah, these things are cool, and you can also go on our mailing list too. So you can just go to our website, and think at the very bottom of our web page, omgrc.com. You can sign up for our newsletter. So when we do have some promos, discounts, and things like that, you know, then we'll send those out. Any new vehicles, things of that nature. I don't really try to send out too many emails. I keep it pretty, for the most part, pretty simple. Sometimes if there's a lot of deals, I'll go ahead and send out a couple emails, depending on how MailChimp is okay with it or not, as far as the amount of emails I send out. But yeah, usually I haven't sent out one in a while, other than well, last week it was the Machete, and then since then I haven't sent anything else. So it's almost been, well, it's been about a week. So yeah, usually a week, 2 weeks. Sometimes it goes a little bit further. But I don't have any other news when it comes to any new cars that are coming out. Hopefully get something, other new cool thing that's coming out besides a crawler. Nobody wants a crawler. I know some of you guys do. I like crawlers too, but I don't like the crawler price. So do you have the TC? Oh yeah. As far as that one, so the Asuga, I think that's how you say it. I think it's the Asuga. That's the Team Corrali one. We do have, if I'm not mistaken, we have the RTRs, the ready to runs. But as far as the rollers, which obviously those are a little bit cheaper, by I think about $200, $220, somewhere right around there. Those don't come until, what I was told, like around May. So the Team Corrali Asugas, I think that's what it was. Yeah, those don't come back. So if you're looking for one, I had a friend ask me, like, hey, should I get one? I was like, yeah, well, I was selling them, dude, and so you're not gonna get my opinion now. So, but I get a little cold sometimes, but it's part of it happens. You know, it's like, hey, you run the business, you're going to ask me for something, you're not going to buy it from me. It's like, if it's my YouTube channel, like, hey, I don't care asking people questions and you guys answer, you know, as far as asking questions. But when you're going to buy somewhere else, what are you going to ask me? Go ask the person that you're going to buy it from then. So, I don't know, I get a cold, but I think that's just reality, man. It's just the game. So, that's a nice big, Biggie, I want one. Yeah, they're cool. So let's see, anything else that is happening? No, I was gonna run even what is this here? I don't even know what it is. as far as the Kyosho. So this one here, I had it on brushless. I put a Redcat drive shaft in it, and it had like the new motor. But the only thing is, I lost interest, and the reason why is because I was like, it's pretty cool. But one was like the motor I stuck in there was a Hobby Wing system, and yeah, it's censored and all that good fun stuff, but it doesn't come in at the price that I like. So I'd really like to see Hobby Wing, like I would like to see their Max 10 motors. You know, these easy run systems, these were nice, and then they just kind of like killed them off. And I was like, man, it's a 4,000 kV motor, it's under $100, and now you're gonna charge me another 30 something dollars for which essentially just seems to be run very similar without a tune on it. So I was kind of like, I can't offer that $30 more. I don't know. Doesn't seem right. Do you have any other 6S for sale used now? Man, I have. Yo, Rob. I used to put stuff on on my website OMGRC. I would go to used RC cars. I used to put a bunch of used RC cars. I shouldn't say a bunch, but I used to have quite a few that would be listed on there. But I've been selling either locally, and as of right now, I don't have that many RC cars in my arsenal anymore that I just don't. I'm like, I'm gonna keep it. I do have like a Traxxas. What is that? The Traxxas TRX? TRX? Yeah, TRX. I bought that one, and then I was like, it was a crawler. I got it here, and I got it. But it was a blue truck. It's 4-wheel drive, all that kind of stuff. And when I got it, I was like, you know what? I'm not feeling it. I already have my other one, which is an HPI Venture. I like that one. I put a Cross RC body on it that's all hard plastic. It's cool. The doors are off of it. I was like, that one's cool, man. I put my little figure in there as far as my little Friday the 13th Jason, my boy in there. And I was good. This is what I'm talking about. Like as far as the crawlers, like the Cross RC stuff, they started getting some pretty cool stuff, like their flatbed and all that good stuff. And then we don't carry them anymore. I don't think they're even selling them to any other dealers. Like they don't have any dealers. They're just selling them directly from their website in the U.S. It's kind of a bummer. And they started coming out with some pretty cool stuff. Apparently they couldn't make an agreement with my distributor. So they just said, yeah, we're not going to sell them anymore. I didn't sell a lot of them, but they started coming out with cool stuff, and I was like, man, that was cool, and I don't sell it anymore. Bummer. Well, it's well built. I regret not buying one as a roller. Yeah, exactly. Those Asugas, they seem to be pretty good. I mean, I haven't had anybody complain about them. Sold a few of those, and crickets. Crickets are good, man. When it comes to when you sell an RC car and you don't hear nothing else. I personally haven't heard anything. Like I haven't heard anything bad about them. So apparently they did well. I'm glad. But I like the Team Crowley stuff. I always like to see them succeed. When they first came into the scene, again, I know they were kind of like that Arma clone or whatever. But I was like, that's cool because now I can sell these Team Crowley cars. I can sell them on the website. And we sold quite a few of those cars. So it was... And, 6, I don't know, they're cool. So I like the Team Crowley stuff as far as that one goes. They seem to be a good company. I mean, even the people that own the company were listening. So that was pretty nice on there. So, yeah, hopefully they just keep going up and up and come out with different revisions of it. I would like to see, hopefully they're supposed to come out with some other cool stuff this year from what I was told. So I have to kind of keep your eyes open, your ears perked when it comes to the Team Crowley, see what else is coming out besides the Asuga. So maybe there'll be some other stuff that comes out. I hope so. Just thinking how the TC electronics are let's see, good for... Oh, so they're good, but the rollers are so much better. Yeah, I mean, it's a better deal if you... Yeah, as far as a roller, I always opt for a roller. First of all, when it comes to an RC car, if it's available and if the price point makes sense. Sometimes the price point's like, well, that's pretty good for a roller, but a little bit more. Sometimes there can only be $100 difference. And you're like, well, it seemed like it was a little bit over $100 in electronics if it was retail or whatever. So then I'll just kind of opt that way. And because you're like, oh, I got to get a radio with this. And then sometimes they kind of cheap out on that stuff. And you're like, just give me the roller because you put pretty lousy parts in there in the first place. So that's why I like the Habao, whatever you want to call them. they're kind of cool when it comes to like they have like a ready to run and then they have rollers. I will say this, that they've gone up quite a bit where they're just not, their rollers cost as much as, you know, like these vehicles that have all the electronics in there, where it just doesn't make sense. Like at first they were cool until their price hike. I get it, they're a small company too. And it's kind of biting them as far as I'm sure, as far as on costs and materials and everything like that. So it kind of stinks. Definitely stinks. So, but yeah, and I like Habao. I remember going into a hobby shop. I didn't know nothing about them. And if I say their name wrong, forgive me. Hey, I'm human. But when I saw it in a hobby shop and it was in their glass display, I was like, that's cool. And I was like, who is that or whatever? And that's like, it was one of their like on-road cars, the 1/8 scale. I was like, dang, that thing is pretty sweet looking. I forget how much it was or whatever, maybe like $400 or $500 or something. But I was like, dang, that's cool. And then I got one of them, and the body was cool. It was like black and like this bright orange. They're a Truggy, which was like, I forget the name, but I did videos on it and stuff like that. But it was just like that, what I built up in my head as far as image of like an RC car when you walk into a hobby shop and then you're like, oh man, the aluminum and just everything's popping. It looked cool, like a 90s kind of vibe thing. If you're, you know, from the 90s or 80s or whatever, where some of those bright colors are just kind of like, it triggered something in my head. So yeah, it was cool. Yeah, the SSTE. Yeah, exactly. So that's it. So I think that was it was their Truggy version. It was a 1/8 scale. It was cool. 6S power, and I had some of the other vehicles too. And it was one of those things like, I think JTRC had, he's like, yeah, man, I forget the other ones that I had. It was like a 110 scale. I put like a 6S system in it. It took it, but you couldn't get all 6 batteries in it. But there was cool stuff. I learned quite a bit from watching like JTRC, especially in the very beginning. I probably should do like a little history, but I don't know. I thought about that one too, but at the end of the day, I was like, you know what? I don't. As far as I don't know what to do. It could ramble on too long, like I'm doing now. But it's been so long since I've been on live, so yeah, I definitely appreciate all you guys when it comes to, you know, tuning in, supporting, all that. So definitely, I can't say enough. Thank you for all you guys that go to the website. You come here, you hang out on Friday, and I know I haven't done Fridays in a very long time, and if I do, they're kind of what do you want to call it? As far as kind of, they're pretty scattered when it comes to when I'll be on and when I'm not. I had a friend, he's like, yeah, I tune in on Fridays, make sure my appointments are, you know, I get done beforehand so I can tune in on 7 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, tune in to you. And that's when I was more consistent. So that definitely, all that consistency that I was doing is definitely damaged, you know, YouTube, and also when it comes to just in general OMGRC. But you know, it's only so much you can do. And let's see here, take the car shells off and let me see inside. Oh, Ed. So yeah, I just put it back on too. So yeah, these things are pretty dope. Yeah, that one. I'm waiting for this thing to already just kind of break on me. The little tethers. But yeah, there you go as far as inside of it. So if you're looking, I don't know how long. Oh, 8. So kind of rambled on for what? Good 2 hours just about here. So there is the inside of it. Kind of take a look. Look and see. So yeah, it looks good. I mean, I'm sure most people would say, yeah, that looks pretty cool. Like, I like it. I like the black and red. Can't go wrong. And then on... Ow. And then on the inside of it too, or on the chassis of it. So looks good. I like it. I like all the little red bits in there. So, and then you got the wheels, how they look too, which you probably already saw that, but you got the wheelie bar on the back. This one spins good, and well, not much there. Does it spin? Well, it spins okay, but it wasn't spinning too great before. And then on the front of it, so I'll kind of show you that overhead of it. So you can see this thing is pretty big, pretty tall. Like again, it's a little over 27 inches long. If you go from like the tail, a spoiler, whatever, the wing to the front bumper. So yeah, you're about a little over 27 inch. So, but yeah, I mean, again, got suckered into, you know, just the looks of this thing. Clearance on it, if it was like that, Like that wouldn't be. So if it wasn't like that, let's see, ground. It's a little bit less than 3 inches off the ground. So yeah, it'd been. If it stood like that and had more shock travel in it, let's see, and it bottoms out. That was one other thing I thought it might not do. Like it needs to bottom out to the chassis. It's got sway bars on it, all that good stuff. You got adjustable turnbuckles, and then the aluminum piece that's in the upper arm, which is definitely threw me for a loop on that one. But as far as the shocks go, now I know that it does have a lot of sag, but if you look at the shocks, you can definitely make more adjustments to stiffen it up a little bit. You got at least another quarter inch or something right around there to lower it, to tighten up the suspension. But again, it's a low slung vehicle, kind of exactly what the Shredder was. It was not like a X-Max with huge amounts of travel, or other bashers that have loads of travel, enough to absorb a lot before it bottoms out. In this case here, follows the same thing. Oh, sorry about the electronic speed controller. I took off the double stick tape because it was already rocking a little bit. And again, I would like to see, you know what? Okay. So I did mention about there's holes on the bottom of the electronic speed controller. Let me flip this way. So my ignorance here as far as when it comes to there's holes on the bottom of the ESC, but the servo is right underneath this. Like it's part of the servo. So it sits on the servo. There's like a little plate to it, but the servo sits. I don't know why it's got holes right there. Like, was there intentions to? They could have made like a little strap. So it's got holes that almost could you could run like they had a plastic piece that kind of slid over it. That kind of held it down, or at least kind of created it a little bit. But yeah, but I took the double stick tape off because again, like I said, it wasn't holding it down too well. What the All right. So the steering on this thing, I found, you look at this thing more and more and you're like, what the heck? So there's the steering that's on here. It's got some kind of like little rubber boot. And let me show you. I'll go ahead. Let's go ahead. Let's see. And is that a Leopard motor? I don't think it's a Leopard motor. I don't know. I have a Leopard motor, but I don't know what brand or whatever. Obviously it's Redcat tatted on it pretty much. But let me show you. But yeah, you can. I don't know if you can see it or not. You can't see it but it's got a little boot over the steering arm on it. Part of the rack on there. But you can't see it. I don't think you can. If you can, no. You're not going to be able to see it too much. It's too dark. If it's 720p, it's not the greatest. It's not going to pick up on much. But anyway, I don't know how long that thing will last, or how much dirt will get caught up in it. Let's see. Let's see here. The holes you're looking at there, are these heat release, brother? Heat release from what? Let's see here. Because if I don't know correctly, but now I thought, at least on this one here, I don't know, but heat rises and the heat sink is at the top. So if those are heat release holes, I don't know all of that as far as the injection or whatever, as far as the mold, but ain't no heat escaping from those holes because there's going to be double stick tape that was right over top of it. So if they're releasing any heat, it would have been closed up. So, but it's got a heat sink. It's got the decent sized fan that's on there. But some of you guys make some stuff up. I don't know what that is. But I know, like, as far, I don't know if there maybe anything else. I can see, you know what? Hold on. I don't know. Let me see if you say anything so that way I can kind of read a little bit more. Read the pictures with a Max 8. It's the same ESC as the Kaiju. Oh, okay. but that didn't come with the Max 8. I wonder if he meant the ESC from the Kaiju. Maybe, oh, I don't know. But yeah, I know like as far as on the Hobby Wing system, it's got little holes there. But I don't see like these holes could be, I don't know as far as that, but they're not threaded or nothing like it. But they wouldn't be threaded probably anyway. But yeah, man, you know, whatever. As far as that one goes, I'm not going to debate over it because I don't know all that stuff, why it's like that in the first place. Other than it could be, if I'm not mistaken, nope, different location. You know, there could be like, kind of like, I don't know, however the board's mounted in there too. But at the end, it didn't come with the Max 8. So, yeah, I don't know. You could be right. I'm not going to. But, all right, I think I'm pretty much spent as far as everything else here. So, let's see, unless he's going to say something else, Edwards. Yeah. But anyway, let's see, anything else? Okay. So yeah, as far as the electronics, the heat sink, it does move around because the old one on the or whatever on the shredder definitely was, it moved around or whatever. And let's see which way it moved, this way. And that one was really bad as far as how the heat sink slash motor mount. So this one definitely has just a motor mount to it. So I'll have to explore a little bit more. I can see like a little case cover that you can pull off, quite a few screws and whatever else. So we'll see. Let's see. Hey, have a great night when, let's see. But a bunch of silicone, and I'll be fine. Let's see. yeah. So that's cool. All right, you guys have a great night. Appreciate you joining in. Anybody that stayed from the beginning to the end, man, definitely appreciate it. So I know there was a guy that was Peter that was in here. I think he was like the first person. But anyway, you guys have a great weekend. Get out there, run some RC cars, do whatever. I'm going to be working on some computers too. So peace, guys. Later.